Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Heroic Story. Welcome to WTF. Our NFT is a collaboration with Shonen Junk, KillerGF, and Heroic Story. I'm Jay. I'm one of the founders at Heroic Story. We're a community for writers, artists, and collectors ready to cross the threshold into Web3. But what is NFT? What are NFTs? What is Web3? What does this even mean? They're excited to have everybody join us. We're going to kick this off with two very quick definitions, and then I'm going to kick things over to our guests to start to explain their projects, and we'll get right into it. But we wanted to start with a definition of NFT. I think a lot of people may know what it is or have heard some things, but I'm going to give you the one that we've been using that I think will make this brand new technology make a lot more sense for those of you who are curious about what's going on here. So it stands for non-fungible token, which is a contract that grants you control or ownership over a digital item, asset, or identity, kind of similar to the deed of a house or the title of a car. And the word non-fungible represents that every token is unique and different from every other token. So now what this token represents can vary greatly. It could be a piece of digital art. It could be the key to access to a club or a website. It could represent a virtual piece of digital land or a game character or even a real world item like a house. Now, NFTs, they can be created, bought, sold, auctioned, transferred. But what's most important to our discussion, and I think what's most exciting to people interested in NFTs, is that they're just a tool. And since they can be almost anything, there is a tremendous amount of creativity in how they're being used and can be used in the future. Second definition, Web3. So Web 1 was roughly 1990 to 2005. It was all about open protocols that were decentralized and community governed. And most of the value on the internet then accrued to the edges of that network, the users and the builders. Web 2 came next, and this was roughly 2005 to 2020. And it was all about siloed, centralized services run by corporations. So most of the value accrued to a handful of companies. We all know them: Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, which is now Meta. And we're now at the beginning of the Web3 era, which combines the decentralized, community governed ethos of Web 1 with the advanced modern functionality of Web 2. And so, most important to our discussion and why people are really excited about this idea of Web 3 is that it's the internet owned by the builders and the users and orchestrated with tokens. And so now that that's out of the way, onto the fun stuff. I want to introduce our guests and their projects. I'll let them talk about what they're building themselves. First up is Shonen Junk.
So yeah, there's actually a few of us here. I don't actually know who wants to speak. So it's me, Bills, and Nobita and Squidman. We are the Shonen Junk team, part of it actually. I'm the software engineer, the developer on the team. And maybe the other guys can intro themselves.
Yeah, hey guys, happy to be here. My name's Bills. I do a lot of the community management and marketing side of things. I'll pass it off to Squidman Nobita now.
Hey guys, I'm Squidman. I work on the project kind of as A&R, recruiting creators onto our project. And lastly, Nobita.
Guys, happy to be here. Like Squidman, sort of working with artists here in Japan. Um, really excited to be here and to have this conversation.
Amazing. Thank you all and welcome. I'm really excited. I saw that piece of concept art you shared on Twitter earlier today. Featuring some of the NFTs you guys are creating. Really, really cool, really exciting. Next, we have KillerGF, and I believe we have the project creator here, Zeronis.
Hey everyone, it's nice to be here. Yeah, I'm the founder of the KGF with co-founder Kiwi, who
Yeah.
represents Oulu Labs. So yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, hey
And,
guys.
I'm the community manager for the project. We also have Desto here as well. Super happy to be
What up?
here, talk about our project with you guys, and answer any questions that we get too.
Yep, hey guys, excited to talk. I've been in the crypto space for a while, and I'm very happy to advise and help Zeronis with KillerGF. And we're actually releasing in about 2.5 hours.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. We literally met in 2.5 hours. So we're
Let's
in the
go.
middle
So crazy.
Yeah, cutting time pretty close. But hey, I mean, the code is gonna do what it's gonna do. We just gotta let it happen.
Right.
It'll just
Right.
happen. You know?
Right. Kiwi, you got that.
Hope for
Kiwi,
the
don't worry.
best.
I know everyone's
That's
gonna be there on time anyways, so
But I'm super happy to be here, and thank you
yeah,
for the
thanks for having us on,
opportunity.
guys.
Oh my God, that's
thank you.
amazing. Yeah, welcome. Oh, sorry, Dustin, I cut you off.
But yeah, Desto here. What's up? I'm the social media manager for KillerGF.
Cool. Welcome. I mean, I was gonna dive into kind of like what excites you about Web3, but like knowing now that you guys are so close to minting, firstly, I'm honored that you're here. Secondly, can you just like, I think there's a lot of people in the audience who are super interested in understanding more about like why NFTs, why would you as an artist or a writer, any kind of creator, why would you use NFTs as your medium? And since you guys are so close and been like are basically almost you're at both at the end of a long journey of developing Killer GF, but also at the beginning, right? Because your mint is gonna
Right.
build the
Exactly.
foundation of your
The start of our community.
Exactly.
So we have two perspectives on that question here. We have the perspective of an artist, Zeronis, of course, and we have the perspective of a collector. Maybe we can start with Zeronis' perspective on what NFTs mean to him. And
Yeah, I'll try to keep this condensed and concise. So I come from the video game development background. So I have a 10 plus years of experience working at Riot Games, and I left in 2020 in October. And 2021 is when the NFT just started to blow up. I think August for me.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I left Riot Games, it's such a good company, but as I hit a certain age, I was like, man, I got to do something for, I want to tell my own story. I want to invest in my own project and do something that's meaningful that I'll be happy looking back and be proud of. And that was before NFT became a thing. And when it became a thing in 2021, that just changed everything. And I felt more of it, like the potential in August. Like I became more have that conviction that this is it. And today, like right before the public sale, I'm feeling it like even more, like what this all means and how it has like given me this possibility of collaborating with these guys and creating this awesome community together. And I'm just so excited to see where this goes and how what this means for all of us. So
great. I can go over quickly my perspective as a collector, if you guys like to hear that.
Yeah, totally. I just have before the collectors, I just have
Sure.
for Zeronis, just one follow up. It's like, I think for some artists, like at least my question is like, and I went down this pathway too, but I can imagine for many artists, it's like, why NFT? Why not? Okay, so you left Riot. Why not like sell your art for commission in USD or whatever currency is available in your country, and like why not post on ArtStation and go the traditional route? Why like Web3 and crypto?
that's a really good question. I guess I would say I've been in that space for a while, also doing like side hustles like Patreon and selling. I haven't like sold prints at a large scale level at like anime conventions or anything like that. I've gotten a taste of it, but it just it was such a slow pace. I think not a slow pace, but like it's not enough. Like doing freelance work, doing commercial art, working, full-time job, 9 to 5, that kind of stuff. Like that just it's not the same. I would say like NFT kind of opens that possibility of not having to worry too much about the financial part, the aspects of it.
And they just
But
let you do what you want, right?
yeah,
Right,
exactly. Like chase
right.
your dreams quickly, and
It's really endless of opportunities.
yeah, the opportunities are really, it's way more than trying to do everything, like grinding endless hours and trying to like build that community or build that project the traditional way. That's it's just slower and much more, yeah, harder,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Kiwi, okay, so Kiwi, talk to us about your experience as a collector and like why do you love collecting NFTs and like
Hmm.
why again it's almost the reverse of the question that Soros just answered. It's like yeah, why not just sort of like make a Pinterest board of your favorite artists? Like
Hmm.
why buy the NFTs?
So people, well, it's a great way to support an artist, right? Because I'm speaking mainly, my experience is primarily on Foundation, which is a creator focused platform that pretty much it focuses on creators publishing one of one pieces, so there's only one of that piece, and then every piece is sold on an auction. So there's usually competition. Like a very popular artist like Zoronis has several people bidding on his work at a time, and it's a great, auctions are a great way to get market value for your work. Like there might be people that value and enjoy Zoronis's art, but before NFTs, we didn't really have a way to put a price tag on art. And it might not be that it's worth that much, but there's been a trend that started with Naoki Saito, who he's made a great strand, and he's an illustrator for Pokemon. He's made great strands in the NFT space. When they get a sale, they say, "Thank you, collector, for valuing my work at X price," right? And ever since then, everyone's recognized it like that, which is great. But yeah, they're a great way to support people. They make a great connection with, like, I wouldn't have had the connection with Zeronis to start KillerGF with him if I wasn't a collector, right? Myself. And I'm very thankful for like it's supporting artists very generously, but you also like you form a connection with them, really. Like there's only one person who can own every one of one. So usually, like buying one of those from an artist, you already form a connection with them, and it's just a fantastic way to support them. Like it just lets them create freely. You can support them how you wish. It's more sustainable than other methods. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you for sharing. I want to learn. I want to talk more about all this with everybody, but I want to give Shonen Junk the stage to talk about Shonen Junk and what it is and kind of how you all came together and what the mission is. Is like I've been waiting for manga and anime to come to NFTs and Web3 in a really meaningful way, and it like I don't know everything that you guys are planning, but everything I'm seeing, I'm starting to get more and more excited that there's something big building. So please explain.
I'll start, and the other guys can feel free to add to it. So Shonen Junk is a NFT project. There's about 10 of us working on it. We started this, I think maybe around August or something, and it was actually a lot of us knew each other from the anime industry, and we're kind of looking at Web3 and figuring out, well, is there something we could do in this space? And we just slowly started talking, and NFT is kind of the thing that people are talking about it. And to me, this is something that is, regardless of what it is, whether it's NFT or whatever, when it is trending, it's actually a great opportunity to get adoption, right? And that's for anime. It's always been something that is that we wanted to make more make the market bigger, like get more people interested in anime, spread the word about it, and because it's great, it's a great medium, and we just want more people to enjoy it. And I think Web3 is a chance to grow the market size of anime and get more and more people into it. I'll stop there and have the other guys jump in too.
And I think, well, yeah, I think Web3 presents a great opportunity. It's also an opportunity to address and try to solve a systemic issue with anime and anime production as exists today. I think anime has become pretty ubiquitous, and the market size has definitely grown. More eyeballs are watching more anime today than ever. But it's really the business interests that have benefited financially from the growth. And the creators, as well as I would say the fans, are kind of getting screwed in the process. And we see Web3 and NFTs kind of as a tool to address those issues and try to level the playing field so that creators have more control and visibility and a taste of the upside in their creations where they don't today. And fans get a more direct line to creators. Whereas I would say a lot of the sort of streaming services that have come up have shortened that distance between creator and fan. I think Web3 presents even shorter path between the two. So really excited to connect the two most important groups in the anime business today.
Actually, can I add to that? That's actually pretty important. So so I started watching anime way back in the day. VHS was actually still around. You can go and rent a VHS with anime on it, and then it started being like torrenting was kind of big, and it was about piracy and all that. And people did complain. Like the hardcore anime fans were like, "Well, if you're pirating, you're not supporting artists. You really need to like actually buy the actual thing." Later on, it was DVDs, right? Buy DVDs, buy the Blu-rays, and really support it. And I think that is great. But just over the years, I learned that there's a limit to that. There are hardcore fans who will do that, but a lot of casual users they're just gonna pirate it just because they want to watch the thing. And I think
And watching the officially licensed version through official services, it helps the industry, but doesn't necessarily help the individual creators, is I think what we found. Having worked in the industry, the sort of trickle down economics don't prove out. And so I think this would be the opportunity to really get the creators to benefit and get a taste of the upside as they fully deserve.
And
Sorry,
also,
Shinji.
to interrupt quickly, sorry, but also from like the fan side, those types of support are also difficult for a lot of people out there.
Right.
If you're not America, that limits your services. So yeah, continue.
Correct,
Right.
correct. I think
Right.
it's a scalable way to support a lot of creators.
Yeah, we've seen that Web3 gives a chance to break down the borders, the country blocks and the geo blocks that are really inherent in how the licensing business works, right? When you're buying or producing anime, you're slicing up the rights across different countries and regions, and that's endemic in the industry, right? So if we can rebuild everything from scratch and make it community owned, then a lot of these legacy problems will go away. And this will take time, but I think right now is the right chance, the right opportunity to do it. We have the power of social and the community, and really, it's when the public and like the users and are really behind something, then everyone else, like the establishment, actually has to fall into line because it actually makes economic sense for them to do so. So I'm really excited about that, and it is hazy right now, but I am confident that it is there, and we could really transform the industry.
Do you mind if I go over one more topic?
I was actually about to pop in too. I'll go right after
You
you,
can go.
Kiwi.
Okay,
Or
okay.
I'll go after you. I'll go after
Okay,
you.
okay, you're brief. So like you might look at art, right, and you might enjoy it, but it might not be very obvious who makes that art. Like I might see a wallpaper and I may be like, oh, I like that wallpaper. Let me put it. But I might not know who that artist is. It's not. It might like a lot of websites they'll share wallpapers and stuff, and they won't say who the artist is. But with NFTs, the artist's identity is where it all sprouts from. An artist's identity is their art and vice versa. So the first thing that you need to know in NFT art is who is the artist, because that's where the NFT is coming from.
That's
If
the foundation.
if the NFT isn't legit, then the artist isn't like that has to come from the legitimate artist themselves. And socially, they use a word for this called provenance. Yeah, it all starts at the identity of the artist, which really didn't exist before this. I feel like people would just appreciate art, but they wouldn't really appreciate the artist for that art. But yeah, go ahead, Swag.
Right. No, I agree with you too, Kiwi. And Shinji, I just want to tell you that I totally agree with you too, 100%. And everything that you were saying is great to hear, especially for new
Yeah,
people that are coming into the space.
agreed.
That's awesome, information for them to know. Something else to just reiterate on that is, we're decentralized, right? This is something a little bit different. Before, you were talking about rights and different countries and not being able to watch this and that because, different parts of the world, licensing agreements, but decentralization is for everyone, right? You can send Ethereum, Bitcoin to anyone you want in the world. As long as they have an address, right? As long as they have access to Wi-Fi, to internet, then they can connect and then transfer amongst themselves. But we're entering a new space, and a new era that we're gonna slowly start to dive deeper in and really figure out where we can fit in this space or what we can make out of it. So I appreciate that you said that earlier.
Right, yeah. And like the one approach to actually, get rid of the licensing rights is actually you can't do it with the way anime is created right now. Because it goes into that pipeline and all the big companies get it. So what we're trying to do at Shonen Junk is actually harness the power of the community, all the artists, creators, the writers, the voice actors, all of those to actually create new manga, new anime, new stories such that it is owned by the community, the DAO that we're going to create.
Mhm.
And then there's no rights issues, right? Because we fully own it. We're not going to slice it into different countries. We're going to make it available to everyone who wants to watch it. And with that, I think the economics of that really incentivize all the creators to kind of move from the old way of doing things to here because they get more money and so on. I like everything runs off of money, and we actually just need to create the system such that incentives are like done right, such that the masses get credit for the talent and the work that they produce.
100%.
I love that. I love all of it. It reminds me of kind of like I just popped into my head like I think it's like the second Evangelion movie, the Shinji Asuka and Rei are kind of listening to Misato give them the missions. Like there's an angel descending, it's going to destroy Tokyo 3, the world's going to end, and your chances of defeating it are like 0.1% or something like that. But they send them into battle anyway, and they beat the angel. And it's so epic. And I feel like there is that sense in Web3 now of like, it's so early that the opportunity is there. And that's why it's drawing so many smart and talented people in, I think, because it's like, oh my God, like you can kind of see that it might be greater than 0.1%, but you can kind of see that chance. And it feels so good that it's worth taking because if you can create that world, doesn't mean it's going to be perfect or totally utopian. I'm sure it's going to have its own challenges and problems. But if you can create that world, why not take the chance? And I think a lot of people are feeling that sort of like hope, which is something that this space offers, kind of makes the internet feel fun again.
Right.
And just last point on that is it goes without saying, we've been trying to enact some of these changes in a legacy system, and we just know how difficult and almost impossible it is when you're trying to sort of combat legacy systems. And so uh, we're really excited about what Web3 can potentially unlock, and we know that again it's maybe not 1.1%, but it's certainly pretty low. But we have kind of high conviction on making some of these changes come to fruition.
Yeah, just for some context, Nobita and Squidman, I've actually known for quite a long time. They've actually worked in the anime industry for almost 10 years now.
Oh, very cool.
In the Japan and US, and Squidman especially has been really into the licensing rights and like production of anime. I've been in the space for a long time too. I'm a software engineer, but been working on one of the largest anime streaming services out there for almost 10 years. So I've seen the in and outs, and yeah, so we do know what we're talking about, and what we're trying to do with Shonen Junk is to kind of rebuild that. First with the NFTs to actually, it's actually more. I think of it more as a fundraising mechanism. We need a little bit of funds to be able to like convince artists that this is like the way to go, bring those people into the community, and start like rewarding them for producing new content. And then with that content, we can get more and bootstrap on that, and then we can actually start building this out. And we actually need to provide this as, I guess, a maybe Web3 streaming type of service, or something around media, and actually monetize. Basically, the content has to be monetized in order to reinvest it to get more and better content and so on. So um, so it is a rebuilding. It is kind of like a business, but it is a community owned business, a community owned startup, if you will, that
100%.
anyone can do in it and do it. But I think that's key. It does have to be run in such a way that it's sustainable, and that does require money. And we're not here to fool ourselves that it's idealist and everything will work just based on like volunteer hours and people contributing and people like out of the goodness of their heart wanting to support it. Um, it just has to be a sustainable system, and I think people do need economic incentives.
For sure. I mean, let me give like a little insight on where Heroic's story came from as well, because I think it'll illuminate that, and it'll also paint some picture on the writing side of this, which we've been really deep in, and sounds like you're thinking about as well in terms of writers and voice actors participating along with artists. I went to school for screenwriting way back when, and then ended up becoming a high stakes online poker pro during the poker boom. And my first startup was a world leader in poker training, so I taught a lot of people how to get better at poker, and we built a big community. Um, but the U.S. government shut down internet poker in 2011. My younger brother actually he's a co-founder of Heroic Story. Actually got the Philosopher's Stone from Full Metal Alchemist tattooed on his arm. We always wanted to work together and tell stories, and so we thought, if not then when? And we ended up getting totally obsessed with virtual reality in the early days of VR. Built one of the first VR adventure games, shipped that in 2018, and then ended up going through Y Combinator to kind of solve problems at the intersection of entertainment and storytelling. And last year, we were working on this idea of solving problems for writers. We thought, oh wow, like writers are some of like the most under-rewarded creators in history. Like they create a lot of the value at the beginning with their ideas for narrative and stories, but they capture very little of it at the end. Like, man, that is like broken. That's so broken. But we're like, oh, that's way too hard of a problem to solve. Like, no idea how to solve that. Maybe we can get to it eventually. It's definitely systemically broken. We weren't sure how to do it. But we did start building like a writing community that is kind of like the metaverse for writers, like a virtual world where you could hang out and study with experts and like train, find your people and train in your craft. And that was working fairly well as a business. But the whole time, like basically my kind of NFT moment, I went from like being very skeptical, like why do I need to like know about this like fictional currency and like what at the time I thought was just JPEGs, to like a buddy came to stay with us and showed up with a second monitor in his backpack and like took it out and immediately started buying NFTs and looked at me like with crazy eyes, like what? I wasn't collecting NFTs. And I slowly started to pay attention and started thinking about like what was underneath the surface and what was actually valuable about the technology, and could it be used to like solve that problem? Like, could you actually kind of engineer a new way of helping writers make money for what they were creating? Could you do it at the beginning? And when you talk about funding mechanisms, like one of the cool things about NFTs that I think is really incredible is that the incentives are aligned between collectors who now own the work and control what they can do with it in many cases, and the creators who are able to actually capture value at the very beginning, rather than at the end. And so for us, like we built a game show really called Bonfire that we run every Thursday at 6 p.m. that was really inspired by Loot Project, which was a project where basically 8,000 randomly generated bags of words, like you might find in a D&D game, were sold as NFTs on cards, and they had a $40 million market cap in a week, and people believed that they were investing in the next Dungeons and Dragons, and so much creativity and inspiration came there, and we thought, well, that kind of validates the idea that it can happen for artists, it can happen for writers too, and you can create communities, big, with tens of thousands of people, or super small with just like three friends who are appreciating your work in whatever digital form it takes, and then that's really, really powerful. And so, long story short, my brother and I said, okay, we need to combine what we were doing before and just do this and kind of show people how to use these tools, and even build some creative projects ourselves as a way to show other people what was possible. And so that's why we're here today, and why how Web3 kind of connected us with products like you.
I'd like to jump in for a second. So, as we're here, talking about NFTs, what are NFTs? I think it's also important to, just quickly go over the security side of things. Having a Discord, being a part of projects, there are a lot of, scams out there. There are a lot of DMs with fake links. You should never, absolutely ever, give out your seed phrase to anyone. MetaMask is not going to ask you for it. I'm not going to ask you for it. No one should ask you for that. When you're dealing in a decentralized marketplace, it's important that you are managing your assets. You are managing, your wealth, and doing that takes responsibility. And just to be generally aware, you definitely should never click any link, unless if it's certified, like this Discord posts a link, it's from them, it's official, but you need to be careful. And you need to
Not in your
be
DMs.
right. And I mean, even hearing it maybe from a software engineer could be even better. I mean, I do community management, but we've seen people scammed, and it sucks, and we try to really push it out as much as we can. Don't click any links. There's no need to, there's no need to. And I just want to just put that out there just so everyone's aware.
100%. We talk a lot about that. We have scam alert channel reports scams. Like
Nice.
our engineer is also head of security here. And
Nice.
like when we talk about educating people on the value of the tools, we also talk about educating them on, the pros and cons and the dangers. And there are NFTs rightfully have that narrative tag to them that they're scammy, because there are scams, just like Swag Dolphin said. And I think it's like, the way I look at it is like it's a giant cyberpunk casino where there's tremendous opportunity, but there's also like a lot of danger. And so enter it, knowing that, and knowledge is power. Be
Right.
skeptical, be paranoid.
And it's always important, to look at the team too. When you're researching, NFT projects and you're discovering new projects, take your time and do your research. Even for me, I started this space in June. I knew nothing about NFTs. I got in it because of Kiwi. And throughout time, I made my mistakes. I went into projects, that I thought were going to do good, didn't do good, but eventually, you learn, whether if it's from mistakes or good repetition. And it's just important to keep that in mind. When you're looking into a project that you like, check out the team, make sure you're looking at details, their roadmap, and if the team is docs, even better. If not, that's fine. Just they have to have a history to back it. History is also, that's something that's good. Past things that they've done. Like for example, Zeronis. He's been an artist, working for over 10 years. That's history. That's also important to look at. So there are ways to find good projects out there. It will take time, but time is always the most costly thing we have.
100%. I think it's important to arm yourself with education, as much knowledge as you can. And there's a difference between participating in the economy as a collector and as a creator, and they both have ups and downs. And I'm sure, like, I want to ask KillerGF to just talk a little bit more about like kind of the specifics and the inspiration for the project, and also like, talk to us about some of the feelings around the mints. It's coming up in like 2 hours, and what's the plan for after the mint. and also like anything that you have learned as an artist going through this in terms of what has been fantastic, but what has also seemed like dangerous, or what you've learned about these risks.
Um, yeah, that's a really good question. So yeah, I'll just kind of go through the inspiration behind KillerGF. Yeah, as an artist, like I kind of FOMOed in, so that's something I would advise artists not to do. Really research and learn about what this space is, and kind
Yeah,
of
I'm just gonna
prepare
mention
yourself.
quickly. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt you, Zarnus. Like, it might seem like there's a rush for opportunity, but really, it's still a very early space, and there's plenty of opportunity and time for
Plenty
everything.
of opportunities.
So the
Plenty.
most important thing is you take your time, and once you put it out, it's out, and you can't undo it. So make sure you're happy with
Blockchain.
it. You go ahead and continue, Zarnus.
yeah, definitely agree with that. I think there's opportunity, and you can take your time, and it's all about building the community and the project. So for Killer GF, it was an inspiration from like what I'm really passionate about. Like I worked on a lot of female champions for League of Legends, and what I found to be interesting is like contrasting elements. So Killer GF is all about like these anime trope, like anime girls, like especially the yandere kind of trope. So imagine it's kind of like a John Wick, but like cute anime girls, um, like wielding like unbelievable power and like as an assassin. So very high fantasized, but very relatable in terms of like an anime theme. So that was the main theme for the Killer Girlfriend, and I would say the learnings I've acquired like working on this was I mean it's a lot of technical learnings that especially even like nowadays when we're so close to the public sale, like I'm already thinking about how to prepare better for potentially the next project. So um yeah, feel
Right.
free to add on to that if
Right.
you guys
And
have
with,
anything.
with that being said, Zeronis, it's being honestly being part of this team has been, a blessing. Being able to learn more about this space, being able to grow more, being able to just talk with more people, and just make more friends. It's a lot more than just the project. You really start to connect with these people, and they start to come on every day, and it's a really great feeling. Like you just hang out with them. We have game nights. We another one of our team members, he does game nights and stuff, and it's super super fun. But I'd say that's really the hype. That's where
Yeah.
I find my happiness.
Yeah, I would echo that. Like there's a lot of unexpected opportunities like that, like meeting other like amazing people like in this space, like on Twitter, through like collaborations and the community manager swag, like reaching out to people and having that connections and building the connections that's been really good. And like even thinking about potential opportunities in the future, like this person would be awesome, like NFT guru, like yeah, he just did it out of pure, like he just volunteered to help out with like
To give
the game
yeah, to give
nights.
some context, to give
Yeah.
some context, NFT Guru, he's part of another community that we partner with. They're MTTM, and they're like a gaming Discord, because we wanted to kind of bring a little bit of Zeronis's fans in, because he has a very league based community. So we thought, hey, how can we bring in league, and bring in the like the NFT community at the same time. So, we try to host, game nights, and we have, League of Legends, we've done 1v1s. We actually did a 5v5 project versus project. We did Killer GF versus Crypto Cannabis Club. That was a very fun event that we did. And it's just, having fun, rewarding the people that play, having a nice time. We stream it on Twitch. The goal for us is to make this, just a fun community to be a part of, as well as offering, utility that comes behind it, which is all part of our roadmap and what we have coming. Super excited about this.
One question I was curious about. is around this idea of sort of ownership of NFTs. So, you know, I'm curious, like the if I buy a KillerGF, I get access to stuff coming in the roadmap. Kind of, I own this
Correct.
NFT. Can I like? I love the idea, by the way, of like John Wick Yandere. I think that's so cool. If I wanted to write like fan fiction of my NFT, like would I be able to do that? Is that something that comes with the ownership? Like, where do you, I know different projects have different philosophies on this. Where does KillerGF stand on that?
It's a really good question. It was sort of brought up when, artists were doing derivatives, and it's hard to give a clear answer. For me, I would say I'm very open to, giving and, ownership to the creatives and any, writing, music, or art. I think that is kind of the spirit of the decentralized, but yeah, but managed in a way that it's
Or for everyone.
yeah, it's for everybody. Like everybody can benefit from it, and not used in in a bad way, I guess. But
Right. I believe a lot of projects really, have kind of different views. With each project, every project has their own goal, right? One project could say, you have, it's rare to be honest, but they said, you have limited rights, but this is what we're going to do, but for us, I believe, I mean, I don't know if Kiwi wants to jump in and shares. I know that he was talking about this a little bit before about kind of the IP rights and, what, basically like rights
Hmm.
for the owners of the NFT Kiwi.
Right.
Like what are gonna like, is it gonna be full 100%? Like have we?
Yeah, we haven't really said anything on this. This is something that we're also kind of like working on for Uukru, because we have a lot of people making derivatives of Uukru, but like it just gets weird, like who owns the art of the derivative. For what we've done with Uukru, and we'll probably do a similar thing with KillerGF. We're probably going to follow Creative Commons non-commercial for non-holders, and then Creative Commons commercial rights for holders, which is pretty much like you can do whatever you want with the image. You just have to change it somewhat, and or you can't just like republish it on its own, But let's holders do whatever they want with their image. They own their art essentially.
Hmm.
But I was thinking, like for Uukru's case at least, because we have all this derivative art, technically all the characters are from Uukru like property. I was thinking like the most thing that we would do to step over it is allow allow the team of Uukru to use derivative art in promotional medium. Which I think sounds pretty great. It's a great way to help support artists. Like in Uukru, which is the project that I've co-founded half a year ago. It's really become like an artist community, and derivatives are a great way for an artist to enter into the community and get recognition automatically.
Right.
Really, it's been a great way to help artists get noticed.
For Shonen Junk, the way that our IP will work is that so each NFT is a character, right? It's an anime character, but it's not just the artwork. It's actually everything behind it, right? Like if you think of Iron Man as a character, it's not just the artwork, but it's a story behind it. It's them cast in a certain movie. It's like the merchandise. It's all that. So it requires not just artists, but also story writers, voice actors, costume makers, all of that stuff. Combined create that character. So for us, the NFT artwork is just a start. Anyone else contributing to making that character become more alive and more 3D would also get a piece of it, and you can build that into the smart contract such that the royalties and the split works. But that's how we're thinking about it. And later on, as a media DAO, if the any revenue comes in that cannot be attributed to a particular character, like let's say in Marvel, it's just like some let's say there was a Marvel theme park and there's ticket sales coming into the theme park. You can't actually say, well, part of this ticket is for Iron Man, a part of this ticket is for Thor or whoever. That unattributed revenue would go directly to the DAO and the holders of the DAO. So this like split of revenue is something we thought about deeply, and it takes a lot of work to make sure it's like fairly done. But I think we have the experience to do so.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say, Shinji, on that note, do you want to explain to the people a little bit more about what exactly a DAO is and how ours we're thinking of how it may like loosely function?
Yeah, sure. So a DAO is decentralized autonomous organization. It's basically a group of people who are governed by the masses through a smart contract. And at the very core on the tech, the DAO is basically one smart contract that holds a treasury of funds. So the smart contract owns the money, and then there is a list of who owns the DAO. Like it's like kind of like shareholders, but you can buy tokens that are and own have partial ownership of the DAO, and that gives you voting rights. And the voting rights, you basically vote on how the money should be allocated, similar to how maybe like a government works, where there are proposals for budget coming in, people vote on it, and then once the vote passes, then if the proposal passes, then the money is allocated for that whatever cause it is. So that's the basics of what a DAO is. For us, we want to become a media DAO after, similar to Disney, right? So we want to create anime IP, and then create all of the different types of media around it, whether it's like manga or animation or even theme parks and merchandise. So whatever Disney makes to monetize their IP is what we want to do for anime. And all of this IP sits inside the DAO, and it is owned by the community. And any revenue generating activities we make go into the DAO, and it can be allocated toward other projects, like reinvested, or perhaps dividended later or whatever. So it's very similar to a shareholder, but done in the Web3 way that is more equitable for everyone. And the Shonen Junk NFT is just the beginning. It is the seed fund that will, the seed fundraiser event that will help kickstart this thing. Like all the funds that go into buying our NFT will go to this DAO, and we will use it to attract more artists, attract more engineers or designers or whatever we need to get this going. And by the way, our NFT drops February 2nd. Join our Discord. Join our look at our website shonenjunk.xyz. There's a lot more information there.
Take the anime test. I'm excited for that to prove
Yeah.
my years of watching anime have come in handy more than just inner growth.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at the quiz questions now and building out the quiz section on our website.
Amazing. I'm excited. And KillerGF is I believe killergf.com, correct? And that's minting in
Yep.
today. Shinji, I'm gonna have to hit you guys up later as well, because the collective ownership of IP is something we've been extremely deep on too, and have been deep in both DAO land and, to give you an example, like in our bonfire game, multiple creators all contribute in creating original characters, and we're exploring lots of different ways that they can have skin in the game around what they're creating too, and how those characters can go on. And currently, like, our writers participate in weekly writing contests to improve those stories, and artists participate in weekly contests to expand them. And our goal is also very similarly to find a new way of creating original IP. And so I'd just love to, like, have a jam session on some of these tricky, interesting problems around ownership and figuring out how to monetize and give everybody fair share.
Yeah, awesome, Jay. Yeah, send me a friend request and DM me. And also the other guys on Shonen Junk team are also really deeply thinking about this.
Very cool. All right. Well, we have 10 minutes left. I want to open the floor up for Q&A to anybody in the audience who has questions. And we're going to share the project links also. If Babushka Boy is on, can drop them. But if anyone has comments at anybody, also anybody in the call, we'll see who has questions. If you have anything else just questions you want to ask, or things you've been wondering about, or any other things that you'd love to add about the project, I can only imagine KillerGF's like energy right now. It's like must be so insanely hype.
Let's
There's a question.
Yeah,
go.
bro. We're feeling
Oh
it.
God.
We're feeling
Oh,
it.
Yeah.
Okay, question about gas prices.
Oh,
Anybody want to take this one?
Kiwi.
I can
For
go
sure.
over. I can go over it.
Can you tell
Oh,
them about almost no gas?
what
for
about
KillerGF?
gas prices? There's a lot.
How do they work in NFTs? So like give us the cliff notes. How do they work?
Okay, so most NFTs they distribute themselves through a public sale, meaning a sale that is open to anyone, and they can just click buy on the site, and it'll give them their NFT. They pay a transaction, gets processed, whatever, right? But the issue with this model is that like minting an NFT is an expensive operation on the blockchain itself, on the Ethereum network itself. So when you mint it, it's like you're making it, um, and that requires a lot of state changes to Ethereum. So what happens with these public sales is due to the size of these transactions, because of how many NFTs people are minting, the Ethereum network literally can't handle it. So people just start like fighting with each other to pay more and more transaction fees, so they get their transaction processed faster. And what the result is, they call it gas war, which is like everybody just trying to pay more and more versus each other. And when that happens, you see people paying 4 times, 5 times of what the actual cost of what they're trying to get is to get these NFTs. And yeah, for KillerGF, we actually have a really cool solution to fight those gas wars. It's been done before, but never at the scale. So I'm really excited to see how it goes. The code, I hope it works. It's gonna start working at 7:30 EST, and people are gonna use it. So we'll see how it goes.
And what does your new system do?
It's because the problem comes from the grouping of the mint cost and ownership. So people are really fighting over ownership, but the mint cost is bundled with it in a normal public sale. So they're just they want to get ownership, but then the cost of it is just tacked onto it, and then it increases the cost of everything overall when you do that. So for KillerGF, and we use this for Crew also, we split it up into what we call tickets. And instead you just buy a ticket that says, this can be redeemed in the future for an NFT, and you can redeem it at any time in the future. So you can wait for cheap gas, you can redeem it then. And then the way this solves gas wars is that the transaction for a ticket is so much smaller than a normal NFT mint. So when people are buying it, they're paying like a $20 transaction to buy and just to get it over with, and then they can mint the NFT whenever they want. So people have been really happy with the system so far. We've used it for our pre-sale stuff.
It's a pretty big difference, right? And gas
Yeah.
fees.
Yeah. There's other things projects do to fight it, but like some of them have like a trusted web server that authorizes only people using the website to use the contract or something. There's a few options, but I like this ticket system because it's just the contract. That's all it is. I don't like having to make a server for stuff. So yeah.
I have seen people do the ticketing thing before. The way that Shonen Junk is doing it is actually the way Kiwi said. So we do have a trusted web server that will authenticate us the request. It's tied to the anime quiz we have and the whitelist and so on. For gas fees, we actually looked at this a lot too, and we're using the Azuki projects. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Azuki NFT. They dropped like last week.
Yep.
You
The
have
new
Yeah, they have
section.
like
Yeah.
ERC
Right.
721A.
Right. So we're using ERC 721A. We did tweet about it. So it should actually drop the gas price. These days, typical NFT mint for like one quantity of one. Well, with the current ETH prices, it's probably something like $60. But with ERC 721A, it drops it down to like $50 or $40 for the first one, but it scales up better. So if you're buying 2 or 3 or more, it's actually right around the same price. So it'll be cheaper, and I think this is probably the cheapest way to do it when you tie it to tickets, when you don't tie it to like a separate ticketing system. And the other
Right.
thing we're doing is also we don't have a gas war because it's not going to be first come first serve. Everyone refreshing their browser to get to the mint button and smashing it, but it is spread out over a period of time because we have the authentication server and whitelist. People can mint over the course of like 48 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. I'll just have a comment and then I have a question for another side of it on gas. One is that like kind of my view is taking the long view. It's like gas fees are terrible for the consumer and they're on their way to becoming a solved problem. Ethereum is migrating to 2.0. where it should be minimal issues. Solana, if people are building on Solana, doesn't have gas fees, and so, or if they do, they're incredibly minimal. But like, it's really bad to, I think, it's one of the indicators of how early we are. The fact that you have to pay gas on transactions, and these are some clever ways to solve them. I did have a question though, on the flip side of it, like for a creator, an artist just getting started who's not part of a project, like how does gas affect a creator? Like if I'm a new artist, and I want to like mint an NFT, how do I like do I have to invest in paying gas in the transaction to mint my NFTs, or are there ways to like do it for free?
Yeah, it's definitely an investment. You can go ahead and join us if you want to talk about this.
I guess like before working on to KillerGF, like I was selling a lot of art on Foundation, and yeah, it's been like it was very volatile, the gas fees, and it does affect like you have to kind of keep track of where the gas fee is, and it's always changing every hour, every minute. So as you know, for me, I was just like keep like opening up the MetaMask and see how much it will be, and pull the trigger if the gas fee is really low. And yeah, there are times it gets really high, like maybe $200. I think that's considered pretty high, or even above that. And that's like, even though you want to make the drop, like you're kind of hesitant. You have to hold off and let the community know that you're holding off, or your collectors know. Yeah, there were times that I paid a big hefty sum of gas fee, but I couldn't do anything about it. And yeah, I'm pretty excited for like ETH 2.0 whenever that comes. That's been promised for like a few years now. But hopefully it does come and make it a lot easier for us to just focus on creations.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely like a. I'm gonna say quickly, sorry. It's definitely like a like friction for new coming artists. But there are some programs that offer sponsorship, so they'll you can apply to them and they'll submit some ETH to you for you, so you have gas to mint on Foundation or whatever. OpenSea doesn't require gas if you want to list on their platform. There are a few options, I linked a guide called Weeb3 DAO. I put it in the event chat. It's an amazing guide from an amazing group of collectors and artists that it just tells you everything you need to know about being an artist. It tells you when to send a transaction, how to watch for low gas. It's a fantastic guide. So I recommend everyone curious check it out.
Awesome. Thank you. And then last question, because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I know KillerGF has a massive event coming up. Their Karma asks, like, as experienced people, artists and technicians in this domain, what was the hardest thing in making NFTs? I think for me, I'll just go really quick. I think once we started to know that we wanted to take advantage of this technology, it was just really like understanding everything that I didn't know. And I'm still learning every day. And I think it was just sort of feeling like ready to do that, and understanding like all the risks involved with smart contracts, and particularly around security and the scary ways that that might negatively impact your project. So
Very scary.
it's been like a massive learning experience around that. How about y'all?
I think it's the same education, whether it's the team jumping into something new, but more so the audience and the creators that we're trying to bring on board. I think it's no secret there's like kind of a negative stigma towards crypto, specific to the anime community, and so it's educating that existing audience that this is not a scam, and we're really trying to fix a systemic issue with the industry that they love so much, and as well as creators who tend to be in the anime world older and not necessarily early adopters of new technology. So it's kind of hand holding and sort of laying out the grand design of this opportunity, that that their skills are frankly, needed. And so it's been a steep learning curve for everyone involved.
I can second that as well. I mean, part in this space, we're so early. OpenSea just came out saying that they hit, for the first time 1 million, active, trader, users. That's so little. That's
Right.
like we're so early. It's just the start, and education is going to be really important in this space.
For anyone who wants to get more educated, the first thing I would just recommend you do is just buy a little bit of ETH or buy a little bit of Bitcoin. Just buy a little bit of something, so that way you align yourself towards getting more familiar with it. You'll start getting the articles, stuff like that. That's what I tell everybody who wants to learn more. Just get a little bit.
Articles for sure.
Get a little bit.
Put some skin in the game. No, for sure.
Right. Exactly.
Cool. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. And real quick, I will sum up Shonen Junk. Thank you. NFT collection, 9,001 unique anime characters that have been brought to life on the Ethereum blockchain, founded by a group of anime veterans who saw the potential to utilize groundbreaking Web3 technology to solve many of the systemic issues that exist in the anime industry today. Thank you guys. And your project is, I believe, February 22nd. Am I right about that? That's when we commit?
February 2nd.
February 2nd. Oh, even sooner. It's like next week. Amazing.
Yep.
We're going to share links to your Discord and project site. Thank you for joining. And then KillerGF, 7,777 generative portrait art collection by former Riot Games artist Zeronis, who's done concept arts for Vi and Ari and Darius, Syndra. 240 meticulously designed features that contrast cute and aesthetically appealing girlfriends that also happen to be dangerous assassins came from Zeronis' love for creating badass and beautiful female characters, while also bringing a bit of the yandere flair to the mix, and a special collaboration between Zeronis and Uwu Labs, creator of Uwu Through Crew. Thank you all. We're going to share your links also, and you're minting today. So for those of you who
Hour and a half.
Our hour and a half, our wallet ready, and you want to check that out, go ahead. If you are, otherwise we will lend our spiritual support and hope that is a good mint. And I am Jay. I'm one of the founders of Heroic Story, and we're building a community for writers, artists, and collectors to experience the Web3 story economy. We've got contests with cool prizes running every week, and a weekly game show called Bonfire running at 6 p.m. We're in open alpha on Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you
and
as well.
Appreciate you coming together.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
for having
Thanks for
us.
having us.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.